At the very top of the world, where maps begin to fade and silence speaks louder than cities ever could, there lies a place few have seen, and even fewer have truly understood. Welcome to Longyearbyen, a settlement carved into the Arctic wilderness, suspended between glaciers, mountains, and the endless sky. A place where the sun refuses to set for months and then disappears entirely into darkness. This is not just a destination. This is the edge of human existence, a frontier where nature dominates and humanity adapts. The journey to Longyearbyen isn't simple. There are no roads connecting it to the rest of the world. No highways, no train lines, no casual drives. Only the sky can take you here. As your plane descends through thick Arctic clouds, a vast white emptiness begins to reveal itself below. Jagged mountains, frozen fjords, endless snowfields. It feels unreal, almost alien. This is Svalbard, a remote Norwegian archipelago deep in the Arctic Ocean, closer to the North Pole than to mainland Europe. And right in its heart lies Longyearbyen. From above, the town looks fragile. Small clusters of colorful houses stand against a backdrop of white wilderness, like a quiet resistance against the overwhelming power of nature. When you land, the first thing you notice is the air. It's not just cold, it's pure, crisp, silent, almost untouched by the modern world. Life in Longyearbyen is unlike anywhere else on Earth. Here, nature is not something you visit. It's something you live with, every single day. Temperatures can drop below 20 degrees in winter. Winds can cut through layers of clothing like knives. And yet, people stay. Why? Because there is something deeply magnetic about this place. A quiet simplicity, a raw connection to the planet. The town itself is small, just over 2,000 residents, but it feels alive in a completely different way. There are no traffic jams, no overwhelming noise, no chaos. Instead, you hear the wind, the crunch of snow beneath your boots, the distant crack of shifting ice. Even daily routines feel extraordinary. Before leaving town limits, you are required to carry a rifle, not for protection from people, but from polar bears. In Longyearbyen, humans are not at the top of the food chain. For several months each year, the sun simply disappears. This is the polar night, a period where darkness blankets the land 24 hours a day. No sunrise, no daylight, just an endless twilight. At first, it sounds terrifying, but something magical happens in that darkness. The sky comes alive, green ribbons begin to dance overhead. Waves of light shimmer across the horizon. The heavens themselves seem to move. This is the Aurora Borealis. In Longyearbyen, the northern lights don't just appear occasionally. They become part of life. You can see them from your window, from the streets, from anywhere. Imagine walking through a silent Arctic night with nothing but snow beneath your feet and the sky glowing in motion above you. It doesn't feel real. It feels like stepping into another world. Then comes the opposite extreme. From April to August, the sun never sets, not once. This is the midnight sun. Day and night lose all meaning. Time becomes something abstract. At 2 a.m., the sky is as bright as noon. Shadows stretch across the mountains, even in the middle of the night. People go hiking at midnight. Children play outside without knowing what bedtime means. life adapts to a rhythm dictated not by clocks, but by light. Sleep becomes optional, curiosity takes over, and the Arctic reveals a completely different face. Surrounding Longyearbyen is a landscape shaped by ice and time. Massive glaciers stretch endlessly into the distance. Slow-moving rivers of ice, carving the earth over thousands of years. One of the most breathtaking sights is the vast network of fjords, deep, narrow inlets surrounded by towering cliffs. These are not calm, gentle waters. They are cold, powerful, and ancient. Chunks of ice break away from glaciers with thunderous cracks, falling into the sea like collapsing mountains. The sound echoes across the silence. Here, you truly understand the scale of nature. Humans are small, temporary. But the Arctic feels eternal. Despite the harsh conditions, life thrives here in ways that defy logic. The most iconic resident of Svalbard is the polar bear. Powerful, silent, perfectly adapted. These creatures roam freely across the frozen landscapes, reminding everyone that this is still wild territory, but they are not alone. Arctic foxes dart across the snow, their white fur blending perfectly into the environment. Reindeer move slowly through the valleys, calm and resilient. And in the surrounding waters, whales glide beneath the icy surface. This is a fragile ecosystem, balanced on the edge of survival. Every movement, every sound, feels significant. In most places on Earth, silence is rare. It's always interrupted by engines, voices, distant movement. But here, in Longyearbyen, silence is something you can actually hear. Step just a few minutes outside the town, and the world transforms. No traffic, no hum of civilization, no artificial noise. Only the wind, brushing against frozen mountains. The distant crack of ice shifting beneath pressure. Your own breath echoing in the cold air. It's a silence so deep, it feels almost physical, almost heavy. And in that silence, something unusual happens. Your thoughts become louder, clearer. This is a place that forces you to slow down, to listen, to exist without distraction. Every step you take in Svalbard is a step across thousands of years of history. The ground beneath Longyearbyen isn't ordinary soil. It's permafrost, a layer of earth that has remained frozen for centuries, sometimes millennia. Nothing truly decomposes here. Old objects remain preserved. Even footprints can last far longer than expected. Buildings are constructed on stilts, not because of design, but necessity. If heat from structures melts the ground, the entire foundation could shift. This frozen earth is both stable and fragile, a quiet reminder of how delicate this environment truly is. Beyond the mountains and valleys lies an even greater force. The Arctic Ocean, dark, cold, endless. During winter, vast sections freeze into solid ice, creating a surreal white expanse stretching to the horizon. But this is not static. The ice moves. Slowly, silently, shaped by currents and temperature. In summer, parts of it break apart, revealing deep, icy waters beneath. Standing at its edge, you feel the scale of the planet. There are no borders here, no visible limits, just the raw, untamed Arctic. In Longyearbyen, the snow tells stories, not with words, but with tracks. A single set of footprints can reveal an entire journey. The delicate trail of an Arctic fox zigzagging across the terrain. The heavier imprint of a reindeer moving slowly through the valley. And sometimes, something far more powerful. The unmistakable tracks of a polar bear. Wide, deep, purposeful. A reminder that even when you see nothing, you are not alone. Here, nature leaves clues, and survival often depends on understanding them. Cold in Longyearbyen is not just weather, it's an environment. It shapes everything. Clothing becomes armor. Layers are not optional, they are essential. Thermal gear, insulated boots, heavy jackets, each piece carefully chosen. Even a small mistake can have consequences. Exposed skin freezes quickly. Breath turns instantly into mist. And yet, humans adapt. Homes are built to retain heat. Daily routines adjust to the conditions. What seems extreme at first becomes normal. And slowly, you realize, survival here is not about fighting the cold, but respecting it. Longyearbyen wasn't always a peaceful Arctic town. It began as a coal mining settlement, founded in the early 20th century by an American entrepreneur, John Munro Longyear. The harsh environment made life incredibly difficult, but the promise of resources brought people here. Remnants of that past still exist. Old mining structures stand frozen in time, like ghosts of an industrial era. Rusting cables stretch across mountains. Abandoned buildings whisper stories of survival. Today, mining has mostly faded, replaced by tourism and research, but the past remains etched into the landscape. Hidden deep within a mountain near Longyearbyen is one of the most important places on Earth, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Often called the Doomsday Vault, it stores seeds from around the world, millions of them. In case of global catastrophe, climate change, war, or natural disaster, these seeds ensure that life can begin again. The Arctic's natural cold makes it the perfect location. It's a reminder that even at the edge of the world, Longyearbyen plays a role in the future of humanity. What makes Longyearbyen truly special is not just its landscape, it's the people. Living here requires strength, patience, adaptability. Yet, the community is warm, welcoming, and deeply connected. There's a sense of shared experience. Everyone understands what it means to live here. Neighbors help each other, strangers become friends. Because in a place this remote, you rely on each other. There is beauty in that simplicity. For travelers, Longyearbyen is not just a destination. It's an experience that changes you. You come for the northern lights, for the glaciers, for the idea of the Arctic. But you leave with something deeper, a new perspective, a realization that the world is bigger, wilder, and more powerful than we often remember. Here, distractions disappear. There is no rush, no unnecessary noise, just you. And the raw beauty of the planet. Light in the Arctic is different. It doesn't just illuminate, it transforms. During the golden hours, the snow reflects soft shades of pink and orange. Mountains glow like sculptures. Shadows stretch endlessly across frozen valleys. Even the simplest landscape becomes cinematic. Photographers travel across the world just to capture this light, but no camera can fully replicate it. Because here, light is not just something you see, it's something you feel. Leaving Longyearbyen behind is like stepping into another dimension. Guided expeditions take you deep into Svalbard's wilderness. Snowmobiles glide across frozen plains. Dog sleds carve silent paths through the snow. There are no roads, no signs, no guarantees, just vast, open land. And in that openness, you feel something rare, freedom, but also vulnerability. Because out here, nature is completely in control. Longyearbyen is unique in another way. It is one of the few places in the world where people from many nations live together, without traditional barriers. Thanks to the Svalbard Treaty, citizens from different countries can live and work here. There is no strict division, no overwhelming sense of nationality. Instead, there is coexistence, a shared understanding that this place belongs not to one nation, but to the world. Isolation is often seen as something negative, but in Longyearbyen, it becomes something else, a form of clarity. There are no crowded streets, no constant notifications, no endless noise, just space, physical and mental. You begin to notice small things, the texture of snow, the movement of clouds, the sound of your own footsteps. And in that awareness, you reconnect with something simple, yet powerful, yourself. Longyearbyen is not just a place you visit. It's a place that stays with you. Long after you leave, long after the cold fades, long after the Arctic becomes a memory, because it shows you something rare, a world where nature still leads, where silence has value, where simplicity feels complete. It challenges your perspective, redefines comfort, reshapes your understanding of beauty, and perhaps most importantly, it reminds you how small we are, in the best possible way. At the edge of the Arctic, where ice meets sky and time moves differently, there exists a place that doesn't try to impress, yet leaves you in awe. This is not just a journey. This is not just a destination. This is Longyearbyen, a place you don't just see, but feel forever.